Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is MAKNG Ahmed and welcome to today's video. Today I want to be going ahead and speaking about something that I went ahead and catched in a YouTube short. The YouTube short has nothing to do with Islam, has nothing to do with the Islamic community. It has to do with a car in specific, a Mercedes. And the title of the video is called A Car Cannot Own a Song, as you can see, part 2. And it's this video of this car bouncing up and down. But what I noticed here was the comments. And the comments, as you can see, is Islamic Republic of England, bro, the car. That's not UK, that's Ukistan, Ukistan. It's hard to believe that that's England. It only took 40 years. That Londistan, culturally enriched, out of existence. London looking like Arabic bell hole with nice architecture. You know, it's very, very, very focused on it being basically colonized by Arabs and Muslims and how the UK is completely, you know, taken over. Where this video has nothing to do with that. I'm going to play the video now and we're going to watch it. And it's 14 seconds and it has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with Muslims. But the people in the comment section decided to turn this all about Islam. So we're going to go into the stats right after we watch this and figure out, have the Muslims actually dominated and colonized Europe? Have they dominated and colonized the UK? Are the new kings and queens going to be Arab Muslims from Afghanistan? Is the Taliban now running the UK? Let's go ahead and find out.
Who would have thought that
Okay. So that right there was all the video was. But as you can see, we're obviously in a Muslim community. We are in an area of the UK, of London, where a lot of Muslims are come together and live around each other. And this is normal. This is normal. You see this all over the Western countries. If you come to the United States of America, there's areas called Chinatown. There's areas where there's a lot of Mexicans, or there's areas there's a lot of Venezuelans, or there's areas there's a lot of Lebanese people, or there's areas there's a lot of, you know, Germans, or there's areas there's a lot of Italians. Like in Canada, we used to go to this street, it's called Erie Street. Everyone on the street was Italian. Yeah, there was an Arab here, a Chinese guy there, or a white dude here, or a black guy here, but 99% of the people were Italian. Did everyone in Canada start freaking out and call the place Italy and called it Sicily and told them to go back to Italy and their pasta is going to oppress them? No, this is not the case. But for some reason, when we see communities of Muslim people, of Arabs or people from other countries, as long as they're not Chinese or Mexican or, you know, it jumps out at them. And I find this to be a problem. And I find this to be a problem because people are really, 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 really trying their hardest, as hard as they can, to make an enemy out of Islam, even though Islam is not making an enemy out of them and is doing nothing to them. They're just trying to find ways to complain about stuff, and it holds no merit. So what I want to go ahead and do here is I want to take a look at the population here. 3.2 million, right, is the population of white people inside of London, okay? And this is from population census. Bromley has the highest white British population. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bromley. Bromley's population of whites is 76.5%. So 76.5% of people in the city of Bromley are white. Why are we not freaking out about Bromley? Was Bromley colonized? Who was living in Bromley 300 years ago before the white man came to Bromley? These are things I want to figure out as well. So why are we not worried when 76% of the population is white? Is that not like a supremacist issue? Is that not like a takeover issue? Is that not like a colonization issue? When it's white people, but when it's Arabs, it's an issue, right? So I want to also know the population of Muslims within the UK. So there's 4 million Muslims within the UK. Islam is the second largest religion in the United Kingdom, obviously behind Christianity. With just under 4 million Muslims, or 6% of the population. 6% of the population. So they're scared of 6% of the population. 6% of the population has colonized the UK, has taken over the government. 6% of the population is going to enforce this Sharia law. Oh my God, bro. This video was about a car, and they turned it into the colonization of the Arab Muslims of the UK. Okay, it doesn't look like colonization. 6% of the whole population of the UK is Muslim, and that 6%, half of them not even probably being Arab, half of them probably being local British white people. And that's the crazy part. Converts to the religion of Islam from Christianity, them being Muslim, right? How many Muslims in the UK are converts? 100,000 converts, 5,000 per year. So 100,000 of them being converts. Okay. So not as many as I thought. But regardless. What is another stat we can go ahead and look at here? Oh, yes. I want to know if England is a democracy. Does England provide democratic values? Does the UK provide democratic values? Is London, am I allowed to be Muslim in London, in the UK, driving a Mercedes? Or do I have to really go back to Lebanon or Afghanistan or Iraq? What are the laws? Is it a democracy? Why even have a democracy? Why even cheer that a democracy is great if you're not allowed to follow your own religion or be your own culture or live your own life? Like, what's the point of a democracy? And this is the problem I also have with a lot of Western countries. Like, people in the United States of America who are super racist, like, get these Arabs out of here and get these Mexicans out of here and get these people out. Okay, I understand you're racist. But my question is, like, this is a democracy, right? So just because someone believes differently than you or looks differently than you or has different cultural values than you, does that mean that they don't have a right in your society? They don't have a right to vote. They don't have a right to live. They don't have a right to work. They don't have a right to have an opinion. They don't have a right to believe what they want to believe or worship what they want to worship. It's very, very interesting that these democratic states are the most tyrannical and the most communistic states that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. It's like, it's not Russia that wants to kick out all the Muslims and kick out all the bad people, right? It's always the democracies. It's always land of the free who wants no one to be free, who wants no one to have a gun, who wants no one to follow religion, who wants, like, they want no one to think for themselves. They want them to be a part of this big robotic media machine and just follow all the trends together and strip down naked together and become homosexual together. It's crazy to me that liberalism is this type of freedom. And if you're not liberal, if you follow anything else but liberalism, then you're not free. And it's not democracy. It's crazy to me. But yes, the United Kingdom is a democracy. They're a parliamentary democracy, which means they're ran by the king and the queen, no matter what. But they are a democracy at the end of the day. Let's see here as well. White privilege is also a societal privilege that benefits white people and non-white people in some societies, including in the UK. So, for instance, we talk about this thing called white privilege quite a bit in the United States of America. And with white privilege, this is something that white people get just because they're white, right? They're born in a higher class, privileged society. Their grandfathers, grandfather were business owners rather than slaves. And they were able to go to school. They were able to get a proper education. They were able to do these things. They weren't born in a society like in the hood where there's no Walmart to work at or nowhere to go get a job or an ice cream place to get a job at like you did when you were 15 or 16 in high school as a white little girl or a white little boy. They had to sell drugs and sell their body because there's nothing inside of the hood except liquor stores. And there's no way to make money, and their parents don't make money, and they're starving, and they're dying. So people grow up in different situations, and because 90% of the population of the United States of America and the UK, 75% of the population of these westernized countries are Caucasian, are white, are Christian, they just have it better because they were here first. There's more of them, and they help each other out more. It's natural. It's inclined natural things. So it's very funny that white supremacy is something that is talked about in the UK, and white societal privilege is something that's talked about within the UK as well as talked about within the United States of America. But they're claiming that the UK is somehow becoming this Muslim state. It's becoming this Arab state. And we just found out that only 6% of the population is Muslim. Like 6% of the population is going to somehow take out the 94% of white Caucasian Christians. I find that very hard to believe, but I mean, if you guys want to paint that narrative, if that's what you guys want to put in your news headlines and your titles, you're more than welcome to do so. Another thing that I want to go ahead and take a look at here is South Africa, and what they've done to South Africa. When you look up South Africa, this is what you get. These are the people in South Africa that you get. Yes, 7.7% of the population of South Africa is white, but guess who runs the country? White people. Guess who runs the infrastructure and the money and controls everything? White people. Guess where Elon Musk is from? South Africa. Guess who doesn't run the country? Black people, the majority. So I also find this very, very interesting that the same exact people who are scared of like Arabs and Muslims coming and Sharia law and everything being taken over by Muslims, these are the same people who are running South Africa, which is a majority black country, being 7.7% of the population, enslaving the whole entire country, and turning them into workers for them. I find this very, very interesting that the countries that colonize the most, that own most of the world and most of the world's resources and control most of the world's economies, right? I find it very, 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 very interesting, right? That they're the ones who are scared of being colonized the most. Like Americans are scared of being taken over more than any other country. The UK is being scared of being attacked and taken over more than any other country. But those are the countries who attack and do the most taking over and the most colonization and the most oppression and the most bombing and the most everything. So I find it very, very interesting with the double standard and the hypocrisy here. I find it very interesting. I also want to know before we get out of here, do I have the right to follow whatever religion I want in the UK? Do I have the right to be whatever race I want? So yes, the right to the freedom of religion in the United Kingdom is provided for in all three constitutional legal systems. Okay. So I can be whatever religion I want, as long as I'm not hurting anyone or breaking any of the other laws, which is like murder and stealing. As long as my religion is like, don't kill, don't steal. And it doesn't matter if I'm worshiping a statue. It doesn't matter if I'm worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't matter if I'm praying or not praying. I have the right to make that decision in the United Kingdom, as it is a democracy, and it is allowed me to make religious freedom choices. So I really don't understand here why this is a problem to anyone. Why it's a problem for communities of people to come together, like the Mexican communities or Arab communities or black communities, to bunch up on a one neighborhood block and open businesses together and eat the same. Like Muslims, they need halal meat. They need a mosque to pray at, a community to have. This is why they bunch up together. Muslims are very community based. So this is not something that is crazy. Seeing Muslims come together and pray together and drive cars together and open businesses together and eat food together, this is not colonization. They are 6% of the population. Now, if you're scared that they're going to colonize the country, then maybe you should go ahead and take a look at your own government, your own country, and see what they're doing to the rest of the world. And maybe you should stand up for what they're doing in the Middle East and what they're doing in Asia and what they're doing in South America and what they're doing in Africa before you are worried about something that's not even happening within your own country. So God bless every single one of you. Just to let you know, freedom of religion is allowed in these countries. That's what makes the West so great, is you being able to follow whatever religion, being whatever color, and doing whatever you want. You want to be gay? Go be gay. You want to open a business for food? Go open business for food. You want to open a business for hookers? Go open a business for hookers. You want to go do whatever you want in these countries. But God forbid you put a scarf on your head. God forbid you pray 5 times a day to God. God forbid you do any of that. God forbid you say Jesus' name as a Christian. God forbid you do any of that in these free Western countries. God forbid you say that it's a democracy and then follow your religion. God forbid that you're allowed to actually be free and not be told what to do by the powers above you. God forbid. And this is something that I find so hypocritical and so nasty with so many different people within these Western countries. They preach freedom. They preach liberalism. They preach democracy. They preach freedom of speech and freedom of religion and freedom of all these things. But then when you're freely following a religion and freely dressing how you want and freely acting how you want and freely doing what you want, they have an issue now, and they want to put you into their boxing. They want you to act how they act, and they want you to believe how they believe, and they want you to talk how they talk, and they want you to dress how they dress. You're not allowed to put a scarf on and dress modestly. You're not allowed to pray 5 times a day, because that's weird to them. They don't like that. And I just don't understand this concept of freedom or this concept of democracy. I don't understand this concept of how the West stands for democracy and freedom and so great, but you want to kick every immigrant out of your country. You don't want any other culture but whitewashed nothing culture to be your culture, except drinking and having sex and mindlessly just like making money and dying. Like, I don't understand how that is good for you. I don't understand why you want to take Christianity and Islam and God and culture and ethnicity out of your countries when your countries only stand for the freedom of all cultures, all ethnicities, and all religions. It blows my mind, and it will never make sense to me. Anyone that claims to be a part of a democracy, to be a part of a freedom, to be a part of Western countries like the UK and the United States, but sit and advocate the continuous destruction of Islam, or the hate towards indigenous groups, or the hate towards Black people or Chinese people or whatever the case may be, you are the exact counter opposite of what the West is about. You're the exact counter opposite of what democracy is about. And you're the one who needs to go to Afghanistan and live under the Taliban rule. You're the one who needs to go to Saudi Arabia and live under Saudi Arabia's regime, where if you steal something, they cut your arm off. Not us. That's what you want. You want totalitarian government control. We want freedom. We want to follow our religion the way we want to follow our religion, and walk in the street and own the business that we want to own, and make the money we want to make, and marry the woman that we want to marry, and raise our kids the way we want to raise our kids. Not the way you do. If you want to live in a controlled system, you're more than welcome to move to Saudi Arabia. You're more than welcome to move to Afghanistan yourself as a white Caucasian person from the United States or the UK, and go live their way. If you want to live in totalitarianism, you can move to Russia. But here in the United States, over there in the UK, we have freedom of religion, we have freedom of culture, we have freedom of expression, we have freedom of speech, and you will never be able to take that away from us. Muslim or not Muslim, get over it. These are the stats, these are the facts, and I wanted to go ahead and talk about this today because I watched a video about a car, and instead, the whole entire comment section is about F Islam and the UK is becoming colonized by Muslims. Well, you should tell the United Kingdom's government, maybe if they stop sending billions of dollars of weapons to bomb Palestinians and bomb Iraqis and bomb Iranians soon and bomb everyone from North Africa all the way to the east side of Asia, maybe all of those people would have been in their houses instead of you blowing up their houses. They would have a house to live in. Instead of blowing up their businesses, they'd have businesses to make money with. But instead, you blew them all up. And their only option was to move to the country that had the strongest economy, which is the country doing all the bombing. And so conveniently, it's the UK, it's the United States, which are bombing these countries to cause immigrants to move here, to cause jobs, to cause their economies to grow. It's very interesting that the United States dollar and the UK dollar are some of the strongest currencies on the planet, and it's because of their bombing and moving of these indigenous people, these immigrants into their country to work and make money and cause these economies to grow. That's what's causing their dollar to grow. That's what's causing their dollar to gain power, is destroying all of these other countries. So thank you guys so much for joining today. God bless every single one of you. And for all of you that this video pissed off, good. I'm happy it pissed you off, because facts, they just they don't sit well in your head. And for those people who are a little bit ignorant, who see things for not what they are, and learn something today, God bless you. And for those who already know what's up and know what's happening, God bless you as well. Until next time, we'll catch you guys later, and until then, free Palestine, free the whole entire world from this deception, and peace out. Bye bye, guys.